Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. And in this video, this should be part 3 of our row house building tutorials. And what we're going to be working on is the roofs, right? We're working on roofs. That's the first thing. And then we'll do maybe some interiors, and then we're pretty much almost done. Okay, so as you know from our last video, I went ahead and I cut out a ton of these 1/2 inch strips, and then about every 1/2 inch or so I cut into it about 2/3 of the way, right? These are cardstock, right? This is the same cardstock that I used to put onto the popsicle sticks right here. Okay, so this is our roof piece. That if this was our row house, this is the roof piece that sits on top of that. Okay, if I wanted to do like a 3-story house, we just pop the roof up like that. So really it's very modular. I can make it as big as I want. It's my house. I can do what I want. No. So sorry. So let me push this row house back off to the side. We need to do the shingles, and that's what these are. I know it's a mess, right? Well, I didn't have enough from last night, so what I did was I went ahead and cut a few more out. Hopefully I'm going to have enough. If not, I can always cut out some more. I got more cardstock. Okay, so we take our Elmer's and we just go, and I just completely coat this in Elmer's glue. Not completely, but you know, 90% coat it. You'll see. You'll see. You're watching the video. You get the idea. It doesn't have to be 100%, but I pay attention to the edges, okay? So those are very important. All right, now we take our, now you notice how these cuts are all kind of, it makes the paper kind of turn. That's kind of cool. Okay, so now when I place this on here, I don't want it to go all the way to the ground. You know, I don't want it to go all the way to the ground. I just want it to go, I don't know, just a little bit over the lip of the edge. And then I just apply gentle pressure along the line. Boom, it's on. Okay, so that's one shingle. Now what I do is I put a bead of glue along the shingle itself, on the shingle itself I should say, so that when I randomly pick one of these other ones and I try to determine like where the best way would be to lay it down, where the slits are not the exact same. You don't want that. You don't want slits on top of slits. So I see this is kind of a wide shingle, and I see this is a super narrow shingle. That's perfect. If it turns this way on one shingle and then turns this way on the other shingle, that's also perfect too, because what that'll do is, and it's random, so don't stress over that. What that does is it makes your shingles stick out at different angles depending on which way it spins. And I try to give the shingles about a 1/2 inch. I don't even know if that is 1/2 inch, but that's about what I'm doing, right? And it wound up being, and then a bead along the shingles, on the shingles themselves, so that when I go back to laying another shingle, I press down, and so what it's doing is the top part of my shingle is on the cardstock, the main cardstock, and the bottom part of my shingle is getting glued to the shingle beneath it. Okay, I can already see that the shingles are starting to angle down this way, so what I probably could do is just slightly shift and adjust, and even if I don't completely shift it up, I can gradually make sure that I do that as I work my way up. That way I'll be level along the top. Okay, I just accidentally picked up 2 shingles because they stick together. They don't want to separate. There we go. That looks good. Lay it on there. Apply slight pressure. Now if you want to see how we got to this point, go ahead and watch the first 2 videos. Alright, so you get the idea there. Let me go ahead and finish this side up, and then when I get to the top, I'll explain the top. Alright, so now we're on the very top row. I want to make sure I've got glue on there along the top edge, right? I want to make sure I got one bead across the shingles themselves, and then line it up. And when I put this top shingle on, I actually go up over the edge. I stick it up, not a whole lot, just maybe 1/8 of an inch, or not even that much, maybe just a little bit, 1/16 of an inch, just a little bit, and just apply one little push of light pressure, and that's how you get a shingled roof. Now let's go ahead and do the other side, and then I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Now I've done all 4 roofs, and I had one piece left over. All right, now we have to deal with this part right here that is where the 2 roofs meet. What I'd like to do is let this dry for a few minutes before I go on to that next step. So I'm just going to kind of tap it, making sure all the glue is in the right spot, a little bit of pressure. Alright, these guys have dried long enough. I need to go ahead and start doing some roofing. Basically the crest of the roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my cardstock with my ruler here. And then I'm going to take a 3/4 of an inch. And it doesn't have to be 3/4 of an inch. That's just a number that I picked out of the head. But this is about the size that you want it to be, about 3/4 of an inch. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. You're going to need about a strip per roof, approximately. Alright, so now once you've got your strips, I'm just going to go ahead and take a pair of scissors to it. And I'm going to cut out about 1/2 inch. And it doesn't have to be exact. And once I start putting it on the roof, you'll see why. Let me go ahead and cut these out and I'll be right back. Alright, so now you've got a pile of 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch rectangles, right? Okay. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and pre-fold them. Basically, you can just take them all and fold them, but I tend to fold them as I go, but I'm gonna try something new here. I'm gonna go ahead and fold them prematurely. And what I'm doing is I'm folding them lengthwise. So I'm taking the long side and folding it. And I'm just eyeballing it, folding it in half. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, that's enough to get me started so I can show you what I'm gonna do. And then I'll do the rest when I move on to the next roof. Okay, so we take our roof that we've done earlier, and we apply some glue along the top of each side. This side and this side. So now you've got a glue bead along both edges. You take these pieces you folded and you lay them down along the outside edge, right? And then you apply a little bit of glue on the shingle itself so that when you go to the next shingle, you can overlap them. You overlap them. A little bit of glue, a little bit of glue. Overlap. A little bit of glue, a little bit of glue. Overlap. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way down the end, and I'll be right back. Okay, now the reason why you fold them in half, you want this angle of the fold to be sharper than the angle of the roof. So we already know the angle of the roof is 45 degrees, so we want to make sure this is tighter than 45 degrees. Why? Because when you place this piece on, it's just just the tension of the fold of the cardstock will apply pressure against the roof. So basically you're using the cardstocks against itself. To your benefit, I should say, not against itself. Alright, now that seals up your rooftop, right? Okay. Super easy peasy. Okay, so I've already done two. Now let me go ahead and finish the rest of these, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so we've got our roofs finished. We've got the shingles on, we've got the peak on, so these are going to look great on the row houses, right? They're going to look awesome. Now what I need to do is, as promised, I said I was going to put wood on these pieces right here. So what I need to do is go get my wood sticks, come back, cut some up, glue them on, and then we will proceed. Alright guys, the next step, we are going to go ahead and frame the roofs. And as luck would have it, after cutting the triangular gable, it actually comes out to exactly 2.5 inches, which just happens to be the length of these sticks, right? So apply a little bit of glue, apply the stick to our roof piece. Then I've cut out some pre-measured diagonal slats, and they're going to go from this apex point right here straight up at a 45-degree angle, straight to the wall. So, I mean straight to the roof is what I meant. And I've cut these at a 45-degree angle so they can go flush with the, I don't know, what would you call that? A support beam, a riser, I don't know. I'm not an architect. A load-bearing piece of wood? I don't know. So let's do all of one side first, and then I'll be right back once I get both sides done. Alright, all the roofs are framed, so let me go ahead and put this lumber away. Some of these pieces that you get are kind of like great for damaged buildings. Not all of them are perfect. Alright, we're going to do a couple of interiors. Okay guys, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make the inside of your home feel more real. Because right now, what are you looking at? Even if I paint this, and even if I put a floor in there, you're getting basically a one-room apartment, right? And if it's a row house and there are 2 stories, some people would say you could cut out a square for the staircase, or you could build a staircase inside here. For my games, I don't really think that's really that important, but for you guys, I'm going to kind of show you how to make the inside of the home feel a little bit more real. Now there are backer boards, I just wanted to kind of show you. There are other backer boards that have textures to them. Like this has a cloth texture to it, so does this. This one is blue on one side, green on the other. Just imagine you used this backer board. After you finished painting, you went back and took this backer board and cut it to slide down inside your building. You would actually have wallpaper, or it would be, well, I suppose this would be wallpaper, but this could be a painted wall, and on the other side it would be green. So yes, you could line your rooms with these colored backer boards. This is a war game. I'm not going to be doing that. we're not having this on display for an architect, but I am going to give you additional rooms. Now, as you already know, I am building these for bolt action, and bolt action says that one floor of one building should be 6 by 6. It should not be greater than 8 by 8. Okay, so this is a 5 by 6, so this is like the perfect size for a bolt action floor. Now, if you, what that means is you can have one unit, one squad, one unit, one die, whatever, however you want to call it, can occupy a floor. You're not supposed to have multiple units per floor. So when a squad goes into a building, you don't have half the squad downstairs and half the squad upstairs. They're either all upstairs or all downstairs. That's between you and your gaming club to decide how you want to handle that, but that's really technically not the way it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to have them all on downstairs, or all of them upstairs. And I think that has something to do with simplicity of taking hits and things like that. But because of that, if I took 12 guys, which is like an American squad, I'm just grabbing some figs. Right? I'm going to get 12 guys. These are all bolt action figures. That's 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's say I had a full squad. You can see that's crowded. That's extremely crowded. And in the game, you're allowed to have 2 guys occupy every window. Right? So let's say, wow, I've got just enough windows for 2 guys, and I got 1 extra space, 2 extra spaces. Okay, so you can kind of see that that is pretty much a crowded floor. Now, some people would say, well, I just put another unit in there. Well, there's the 1-inch rule. You got to keep your units separated by 1 inch or 1 floor. The game considers a floor, either up or down, to be technically 6 inches away. So, because it takes 6-inch movement to go upstairs or 6-inch movement to go downstairs. Okay, so let's, so because of that, okay, it doesn't really matter. You don't actually need to place any walls inside the building, but that's just really for the coolness of it. Okay, so we know that the roofs should be, or the floors, the walls should be 2 inches. They should be exactly 2 inches. We already know that. So the interior walls need to be 2 inches tall. What I plan to do on this building is take a wall from this side to this side, and then from the middle to the front. Okay? Okay, so what I've done now is I've cut out a couple of walls, and I also cut out a couple of doors in those walls, because you don't want to have rooms that you can't get into, right? And I also cut these doors out slightly smaller than the external doors. These are 3/4 inch, where the external door, you know, it could be 3/4 of an inch. That'd probably be more accurate. And then, what else? Okay, so here we go. We need to put this in. We're gonna slide this one in right here. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say. And remember, when you're cutting out your 2-inch walls on the inside, especially on the ground floor, or any floor really, you want to make it slightly smaller than 2 inches. You don't want this to be exactly or over 2 inches, because then if you put this roof on, it might rock and settle on the interior walls. You don't want that. Or plate. There we go. And I'm going to put it against the front wall and the floor, obviously. Right? Okay. Now let's put a bead along this wall. let it drip while I'm doing the sidewalls and the floor. In its entirety. There we go. You want to make these square and flush. You want them to press up against the side walls. Alright, and it's that simple to put an interior wall in there. And then even though you got your interior wall, when you go to put your roof on, or I should say your second floor, there's no problem. It doesn't want to rock or anything. And then you got your roofs. That's starting to look really, really good. Alright, so I'm going to let this one set off to the side. Now you can add these interiors at any time. You can do it 2 years from now when you get ready to do interiors. You can do interiors. Later on, when I get these all finished, I think I am going to use these as some interior walls, mainly because they're colored. Yep, I'm going to have a bunch of interior walls, all different shapes, well, all different colors. Alright, so now what I need to do is give this about 30 minutes. 30 minutes to allow this Elmer to dry on the roof. Allow the Elmers to dry on my gable supports and interior wall, I suppose. And then I'm going to prime this. Probably I'm going to prime it white. I know you're saying, Mr. Everything, what? You're not priming it black? Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I think I want to prime it white. Because that's pretty much the color that these buildings are going to be already. They're going to be like an off-white, like a dirty color. So what I'm planning on doing is just applying some wash to the white paint. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to let these dry, and then I'm going to prime them white, and then tomorrow the final step will be painting. Alright, I'll see you then.